The Trump administration is taking a very aggressive and mostly unprecedented stance against the International Criminal Court. And this is a major red flag, yet another red flag. And it's part of this broader attack that we've been talking about on really the basic idea that the United States is not some isolated power that exists unilaterally in a vacuum, but the reality that most of our allies understand that the United States exists really as a country on a planet with lots of other countries and many other people, and we need to recognize the importance of international authorities that the world community says are going to be abided by. And the ICC, the International Criminal Court, is an international tribunal that's at The Hague in the Netherlands. It has the jurisdiction to prosecute individuals for the international crimes of genocide, crimes against humanity, war crimes. And the ICC has been exploring, it's been known that they've been looking into investigating whether the United States, and specifically Americans, and this is an important distinction, Americans operating on the behalf of the United States, committed war crimes in Afghanistan. And war crimes by American troops is something that a lot of people flat out don't want to talk about, right? They're very quick to debate the war on drugs and incarceration domestically. But when you say, hey, some of the actions undertaken under the flag of the United States by individuals overseas, those could also be crimes. That's not a conversation that as many people are sort of eager to have. In comes Donald Trump, and Donald Trump now is threatening sanctions against the judges of the ICC if indeed this investigation goes forward. And of course, none other than Donald Trump's current and third national security advisor, John Bolton, is going to be making this announcement, and he is straight up going to call the ICC illegitimate. Quote from a draft version of a statement says, "The United States will use any means necessary to protect our citizens and those of our allies from unjust prosecution by this illegitimate court." The background on this is one that doesn't point to illegitimacy, it points to lack of recognition by the United States. The ICC has had this sort of bumpy history with the United States, where back in 2002, when it was established via the Rome Treaty, George W. Bush opposed it, and Obama was able to make some advancements in working together with the ICC, and Trump now going in the exact opposite direction. So there's a meta story here, and then there's like a meta story. The meta story is that of the Trump administration continuing to question international authority, criticizing international organizations and multilateral treaties and deals that have been made, criticizing our allies and foreign countries in general, and adopting this sort of no one controls us attitude, which is both a distraction and it's also completely unrealistic in 2018 in this networked, globalized world in which we currently live. That's the meta story. The meta story is about crime organizations, or rather organizations like the ICC, and how they relate to how we conceive of crime. And what I mean by that is the following. Crime as it exists today is overwhelmingly focused not only on some crimes over others, but on the crimes of individuals over the crimes of corporations and of states. We often talk about there's too much focus on marijuana versus white-collar crime, which is disproportionately committed by white, middle-class individuals, right? Versus the war on drugs as a sort of implicitly racially tinged way of carrying out justice. That's an important analysis. I maintain that that's an important analysis. But there's a bigger story, which is that all of that is a discussion about crimes by individual people, not on the behalf of any country or corporation, and there is much less recourse for crimes that are committed by companies and even less recourse for crimes committed by countries. When a company knowingly pollutes water, and that leads to a ton of people getting cancer and dying, You get a lawsuit, sometimes it's in the form of a mass tort, sometimes it's in the form of a class action, and the company effectively pays their way out. They pay money, but individuals who are sort of under the protection of the corporate infrastructure, if they did it as individuals, would go to prison, often for a long time. But because of this veil of protection that is called corporations in the United States, you rarely see jail time for the individuals that are involved. Then we get to countries which, by all sorts of legal infrastructure, are protected from these decisions that are often made that lead to the deaths of thousands of people or tens of thousands of people or even hundreds of thousands of people. They are effectively immune from consequences. The ICC, the International Criminal Court, is one of the few institutions that can at least try to hold the individuals within governments accountable for decisions that they make. Whether or not you agree with the ICC, organizations like the ICC are hugely important. They're a sign of modernity. They're a sign of understanding the limits of sort of domestic status quo criminal justice systems. And of course, in comes Donald Trump, threatening one of those institutions. And what I want to invite you to do is step out of your political bubble, the bubble you're in right now, and that might be like a libertarian belief bubble, could be a social justice belief bubble, whatever, right? It's not a partisan analysis. Think ahead like 100 years or maybe even 500 years when you think about not only just globalization, but transplanetary, transglobalization, I guess would be the way to refer to it. The future cannot be some wild west where countries do whatever they want and decision makers can't be held accountable because we simply don't recognize entities like the ICC. If that is the future in your mind, then it's a very, very dark future, and that's a debate I'm very willing to have with anybody that disagrees with me. Absolutely disgusting behavior by Donald Trump. And hey, by the way, no surprise that this is like one of Bolton's things, right? It's no surprise to anybody that Bolton's the guy who's going to be making this announcement.
I'm really thrilled to tell you that today's program is made possible in part by betterhelp.com/Pakman. As many of you know, I have been working very hard on this program to reduce stigma around mental health, to reduce stigma around seeking help. And I have a family that is very involved in mental health. And if you've not already heard about BetterHelp, it is a tremendous resource. BetterHelp gives you, through your phone and computer, affordable private access to licensed, trained, accredited, experienced psychologists, counselors, therapists, and clinical social workers who are dedicated to helping you through whatever is going on in your life. You just go to betterhelp.com/Pakman, fill out a questionnaire. They will match you with a counselor that will work best for you. They are LGBT friendly. You can even say, I want a counselor who's not religious, if that's important to you. If your initial match isn't a good vibe, you can switch to a different counselor. And the beauty is that not only do you get unlimited counseling over video, phone, and text from at home and on the go, it is way cheaper than in-person counseling. And after 3 months, it becomes even cheaper for you. They also have financial aid for people who need help paying, but you get the same professional licensed therapy that you would by going to someone's office. And I believe that so many people would benefit from therapy, whether you're dealing with an acute situation in your life, whether there are bigger picture difficulties that you're experiencing. Please consider checking out betterhelp.com/Pakman. It's easy to sign up and get started. We've put a link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Once again, that is betterhelp.com/PAKMAN.